Welcome to the sit down. I'm your man, Rod Love. And boy, I tell you, we have a show for you tonight. Hey, and it goes without saying that we have our very distinguished co host with Miss Shaquita Wynn.
Good
You doing all right over there?
afternoon. I'm doing wonderful, excited.
That is excellent. Hey, y'all, for anybody who knows about the sit down, and I'm going to say the sit down is a byproduct of Let's Talk Nation, you'll know that this is a show that brings folk that are doing things in the community. We bring folk to the table that are not so much concentrated on volume as they are on quality. And so we have two dynamic guests here this evening that, man, y'all going to be blown away. Get your pencil, get your paper, call your friends, text your friends, because tonight we're going to talk about financial literacy. And you know what? I can't hold this thing up any longer. To my right, I have a very, very humble, but she can be loud when she wants to be, guest in Miss Yvette Anderson. And Miss Yvette Anderson has been teaching financial literacy. Man, how many years have you been teaching financial literacy?
Hello, everyone. I have been teaching, I would say, probably over 10 years now.
And the name of that is Mobile Financial Services, correct?
Yes, it's Mobile Financial Services, and we offer financial literacy classes to all ages.
To all ages. Hey, y'all, give it up for Miss Anderson one more time. Hey, and sitting to my left, this is somebody who probably like to say that they beat me in golf, but, sometimes you got to, let people win to help build their esteem sometimes. But I will say, I'm talking about none other than a good friend and educator, and a rattler, by the way, Mr. Eddie Battle. Hey, and y'all notice he didn't say nothing about that golf stuff, right?
No.
Trying to be humble. Trying to be humble.
But we have, man, we got two people here tonight that are going to help make the case about how important financial literacy is. And just coming out of the gate, Miss Anderson,
Yes, sir.
what got you into, because I've seen you go to work, and this is not just something that you do. This is a passion of yours. So what got you, into it like you are?
Well, I love accounting, and I love numbers, and I've been blessed to have the knowledge to convey it in a way where it can be received, and not so much as you feel like you're in a class, but you're a part of what we're doing. And for me, as it's so important to build a foundation for not just myself, but anyone I encounter about money. If you have money management skills, you will do wonders in this world. But without it, you're going to live paycheck to paycheck and not understand why.
I know that people have heard this before, but to actually get your hands around this, can you give an example of how somebody that does not have any level of financial literacy can really just lose a good grasp on their everyday living? I mean, when you say living paycheck to paycheck, you're absolutely correct. But if you could give an example of what you've seen, because you've taught many of classes.
So I can go back to where I teach classes at the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida. And we also offer workshops to the parents with the children. So the example I'm going to share relates to one parent who actually came into the workshop because she was so excited to hear that her child was learning about money because she didn't have any understanding. She came from another country and she didn't even know that you could go to a bank and cash a check. She thought that it would cost her money to go to the bank to open the account to cash her check. So we actually were going over savings and checking and opening a checking account. So as I go over these things with her, you could literally see her light up. And before she left the workshop, she came and told me, "Thank you so much for this information because I've never heard it before in my life."
Wow. Wow.
See,
Wow.
and I know I've mentioned before that I've witnessed your passion, and I can imagine when you see something like that, that's the energy, that's that's what you are getting out of it. That you see people getting their arms around this.
Absolutely. It's important for me to give this information to change lives. And then I don't want accolades for it. I want them to get the information.
The information. Yeah. Well, Mr. Battle, let me kind of pivot a little bit because your expertise is in mathematics, correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been an educator?
Well, let's say about 28 years or so.
Okay, okay.
Wow.
And see, you actually get, to see these young people firsthand that are in great need of financial literacy training. So, I know Miss Yvette has worked with you in the past, but what have you seen with the young people that have actually got it?
Well, first, we're talking about the kids, but it goes further than that because it's good now that you have your basis. Now we have our kids as our foundation to carry on to our parents because in our history, finance has not been the number one thing that I would say black people have not been experienced with. But my eyes opened up when she came to my class because I learned so much in one day or 1 year, just the basis. But the kids are amazed that things that they didn't know.
Uh-huh.
And one of the first things I think most of them after everything, they ask, why do we put our money in the bank?
Yes.
They ask that?
And that is huge because why do we put our money in the bank?
Because you remember our grandparents, I would say, because we're not that far removed, but our grandparents used to put their money underneath the mattress.
Yes.
Yes. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
did.
elaborate on that part, y'all.
So I think that their main question was not so much as why do I put the money in the bank, but will this help me? What
That's
is
it.
this going to do for me? So we partnered with Miss Lynette Jackson. I know I can say her name because we partner still.
And make sure you give credit to the organization because that's Chase Bank,
Yes,
right?
that's
Yeah.
Chase Bank. Then they come in and we talk about opening a bank account and why. And the reason we told them was because your money is going to make money.
Money, yeah.
But if you put your money under the mattress, it's just under the mattress. But if you go and open a savings account that bears interest, meaning you're going to earn money
Yeah.
while your money is just sitting still, then what's the difference between putting it under the mattress and going to the bank and open the bank account? And then they're like, oh, okay, what you mean
Yeah.
make money?
Yeah.
And that's how we got into the question.
And
Yeah,
it's-
and open up other conversations or other avenues other than banks.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And that's where I think that's where everything just explodes.
this is an interest. I'm sorry, Miss Quick. Go ahead.
And I think another interesting part too was with the kids of the ones that work.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
when they get their paycheck, all of this money is
Now
coming
that
out.
turned into
That
a 2-week class
Man.
because they're like, wait a minute, Miss Anderson, you mean I can file my own taxes and get some money back? You mean my parents have been taking my money? I said, no, but you do need to understand that you're working and all of us who work on some job as an employee are paying federal taxes. So those federal taxes at your age can come directly right back
Yeah.
to you.
no. But the main question, what is this?
Oh, who's
FICA?
FICA?
Who's FICA?
FICA?
FICA
Yes.
taking my
Yeah,
money.
why is FICA? Yeah. Hey, and tell me, how do y'all explain that to them?
So we broke it down. So we wrote on the board the 3 different taxes that come out of your paycheck. There's federal taxes, there's Social Security taxes, and there's Medicare taxes. So FICA is a combination of Medicare and Social Security tax. But your federal tax is separate, it's different. So we told them FICA is your responsibility to the nation you live in to pay into the system to help pay for things that people who may be in a impoverished area or in need can receive benefits. But your federal taxes is something you pay in that you can get a portion of it back by filing the tax return. And that's how we explain it to them.
And you know what? I need to go ahead and do a little rewind because, Miss Wynn, I need your help on this.
Okay.
The Florida Economic Consortium, which is a not-for-profit organization that provides a litany of social services, mentoring, tutoring. At one point in time, it was doing some behavioral health
Yes.
services.
Yes.
But the Florida Economic Consortium was in the schools, in the Orange County Public Schools, starting back when? What year did we start in the schools?
Oh, we started in the schools, I want to say 22.
Okay, but
22.
here's where I'm going with this. Started in the schools with financial literacy, and thank you,
Yes,
Miss Anderson,
yes.
because that was, and I'm using the word was
Was
as past
absolute.
tense. That
Yes.
was a great partnership that we had, and the reason why I'm using the word was is because just like any and everything else, it takes resources to be able to get this information out, to be able to be wise about other people's time and the teaching and the
Yes.
training.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I got to say, resources vanish. Now, we're not going to get into why they vanish, but the resources dissipated. And that's why we have to do a better job of showing a business logic that whatever it is we're doing, whether you're doing financial literacy, mentoring, job coaching, whatever it is, we need to show a business case that this is advantageous to the taxpayers who are funding it. And so I had to put that plug in because, man, you all were doing an excellent job with those kids. And it's evident by just listening to their response to y'all.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But you said something, Mr. Battle, earlier when you said it just wasn't the kids.
Yeah.
The kids were taking this information back home to the parents.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
let me ask, how did y'all gather that aside from the kids saying, "Oh, my parents taking this money," and then y'all had to be like, "No, no, they're not taking." They're not. But how did y'all actually get the understanding that what you were teaching was going back home into the home?
Well, they actually told us. They flat out explained, I'm going to talk to my parents about this. And I said, please ask questions. And so we gave them an assignment. Go home and ask the questions that you feel you want to know about finances and come back and tell us the answers. So the conversation started. But not only did the kids do it, his neighboring teachers were listening through the
Yes.
walls and walked outside and came around and said, Mr. Ballard, what are y'all doing over there?
Man,
I want to know what y'all are doing over there because I need that information.
boy.
Yes.
Hey, and going back, and I got to bring this up. Florida Economic Consortium was partnering with the Orange County Public School System before doing financial literacy before the Florida legislature enacted legislation to make it mandatory.
Yes. Yes.
We were out there with partnerships that worked,
Yes.
Yes.
and the legislature saw fit. And I'm gonna tell you, now while some people don't agree with all the rules that are made through the legislature, man, that was an incredible, fantastic, I think, wise move to say that schools would teach financial literacy and that it would be mandatory. And you have to ask yourself, living in 2024 right now, why did it take us so long for them to have?
Yes.
You
yes.
know?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I think something with Miss Anderson, we were talking about high schools, but Miss Anderson, when you said Boys and Girls Club, so what are the ages at Boys and Girls Club that you're teaching financial literacy, and what are you teaching the younger ones?
Okay, so at the Boys and Girls Clubs, we actually teach from kindergarten to the 5th grade. And so we're teaching them the same things, but on their level.
See, if my father-in-law was here, he'd be saying, "Amen, amen," teaching them young.
So we teach them about savings. We help them to create their own little savings bank, the kindergartners, but we take it all the way up. And for the 4th and 5th graders, they actually get a lesson on starting a business.
Wow.
So then they have to start a business, present their business, and then we get a team of the teachers to come in and let them present. And then we actually give them money to start their business.
Man, this is incredible. Hey, let me go ahead and just kind of take a pause for the cause right now. If you're listening to this or if you're watching it, no matter what you're doing, we definitely love your input, your feedback. If you're an educator, you're a parent, if you're a young person and you understand the value of financial literacy, the number you can call in just to give us what your thoughts are about what we're talking about right now, that phone number is 352-973-0136. Once again, 352-973-0136. Hey, so I mean, as we're talking about financial literacy and you're talking about that young population, I mean, starting kids out young, when you do that, and I don't know if you've kind of benchmark so you can see, oh, I had some kindergartners and now it's 3 years later, where are they at in terms of the competency skills about financial literacy, because you would imagine that they'd be further ahead than young people who are not getting financial literacy.
So how we measured their levels were they would get pre-tested and post-tested,
Okay.
and we would turn this information into the head people at the Boys and Girls Club. So what they found was that we were actually improving them, because they actually improved their math grades as well, because we were introducing them to adding coins and subtracting coins at a very early age, like first grade and second grade versus fourth and fifth. So we were getting that feedback from them, and also the children. Like, for example, I was in a grocery store, and one of the young kids, who's now in middle school, came up, Miss Anderson. Her mom turned around. The child took off running toward me and grabbed me and was hugging me. Miss Anderson, thank you so much. I said, oh, you're welcome. You know, I'm trying to recollect, like, what's going on. You taught me about money, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I told my mom I'm going to save my money. I am not going to spend my money, because Miss Anderson said you have to save, and you cannot buy anything until you have double the amount that it costs.
Man, that's impressive. And Mr. Battle, on the other side of that coin, because you predominantly have addressed and deal with older students. What do you see that goes along that same kind of excitement and experience that Miss Anderson has experienced?
Well, you also got to think about they're brand new. Just like she started them at 4, started them at 16,
Because
17.
they haven't had,
They haven't had it. So it's still the excitement. The more you expose them, the more they want to learn. And just like I had a kid, I was in the grocery store, and a kid ran up and said, hey, you talked about that electrician, being an electrician. I'm in a program right now doing that, because I never would have known this if it wasn't for being in that class. So exposure.
Yes.
So, I mean, and it's scary, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's a simple statement.
Right.
But you know that one word that you just mentioned, exposure.
Yeah.
Man, that can actually change young people's lives.
Yes.
Just the exposure.
Just the exposure.
Absolutely.
You got people running up to you, kids running up to you in the grocery store.
But it's so important. I feel that we as adults have an obligation to them to go back and teach them, because somebody taught us.
You're right. That's right.
And when we don't do that, we're doing them a disservice. So I applaud Mr. Battles for his years in education. To see a black man teaching math to our children is amazing, because you don't normally see that. My teacher taught math, and she was not black.
You know what? And I've heard this word used twice so far during this show. And let me just make sure everybody understands. There is no doggone shame in saying the word black when we talk about reaching out to a population that didn't have the amount of exposure that we're talking about right now. And I say this because, man, to my Hispanic brothers and my white brothers, there's nothing wrong with it. I think this is something that we do ourselves a disservice when we're hesitant, and not talking about you two, but when we're hesitant of talking about a concentrated effort to a population that we see needs it the most.
Yes.
You know? And so we've had some other guests on here that was kind of hesitant, I would say, to talk about what their aspirations are to do with black kids. I mean, particularly when you talk about black males that are in high-risk communities, that they themselves are at risk. And, you know, we talk about the litany of services, mentoring, tutoring, life skills, job training. I think when we know where the problem is,
Yes.
we need to focus our concerted efforts on those problems. But, you know, what we also do need help with, we need help with those government entities and just in our communication. And I'm speaking because I've seen and witnessed that we need to be better partners, because we got folk that are out in those communities. They see what's going on every day. And then we take a laboratory approach to it when we're telling them how to do something that they are effective at. And that's something FEC doesn't do. We work with our community partners. We have technology, and I know you're familiar with the technology that we have. So those are some of the things that we're trying to partner with more organizations, but just listening to, man, what financial literacy can do in terms of peeling back the layers.
Oh, it. I don't think we can say this enough that if we create a foundation in a child that is in the kindergarten and first grade about money and how to earn money, it changes their life. It keeps them from doing something wrong to earn money.
Right,
Because we have
right.
showed them how to earn
Well, you're
money.
saying you're right. You're
The
right.
right way.
And then they will not go out and listen to the person in the street. No, I can have me a lemonade stand. No, I can cut some grass. No, I can go and do some things to
Yes.
earn me some money. I don't have
Yes.
to do what you're doing, and I'm
Right,
not doing
right.
that. Matter of fact, come over here and help me cut this grass,
See, I
and we
like-
can make more money.
I like where
Right.
you're going because the conversations that we have are the conversation that, hey, cutting grass is fine.
Yes.
But think about it from a multiplier perspective.
Yes.
Man, you start cutting those yards, then you transition and you get yourself some government contracts. Then you bring more folk on that's working underneath a LLC or incorporation, and I know you good at that stuff. But you said something, Mr. Battle, earlier, and I got to bring us back full service to it. And I want both of y'all to articulate on how far we've come, because my grandfather back in the day, it was nothing wrong, or at least they looked at it like, nothing wrong with me putting my money underneath my mattress,
Correct.
because he said back then, if anybody's going to lose this, it's going to be me. I'm not going to take a chance on somebody else saying they're going to multiply my money when I know where
Where
it's
it's
at.
at. Yes.
But
yes.
now you got to be very, I guess, frugal when you're looking at doing the things that y'all talking about, putting your money in the bank, looking at what is the interest rate, how is it drawing. If you look at, I'm not going to mention the commercial bank, but money in there is not even making 1%. You got to shop to
But
look
there's
at
more avenues than
Correct.
a bank.
Correct.
Yes.
So when you're teaching financial literacy, we're not just talking about, since we mentioned Chase and Lynette Jackson, and she says that too. It's not just about a bank.
Yeah.
We also have to tell you the other avenues where your money can make money.
Money.
That's it.
And it's not
Right.
just about investments either. You can partner with someone and make money. But it's different roads to travel. But in order for you to travel those roads, back to the foundation.
Back to the
If
foundation.
you have no foundation, then you don't know how to go turn left or turn right. Your GPS is keeping you straight. You have to go and educate yourself to advance yourself. And that's the only way that's going to happen. But if we're not supporting our minority groups, and not just Black, Spanish,
Yeah.
Yes.
Asian,
Yeah.
Yes.
financial literacy, because they come from other countries, it looks different when they come over here. The education is key to success for anyone.
Man.
But if we don't give it to them,
Right.
or we're holding it back,
You're right.
then we're causing every person that comes to this country a disservice.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Now, Ms. Anderson, you had said something earlier that you do workshops for
Yes.
adults.
Yes.
What does these workshops look like?
So some of the adults, their biggest thing is credit and credit score. So I know we haven't talked about that, but I'll just briefly say this. Most of us know you cannot navigate without credit and
You're
credit
right.
score.
Yes.
So a lot of them want those type of workshops. So what we do is we have them to come in, and for them, they get a piece of paper to write down what credit cards they have and what the balances are.
Okay.
And then we also ask them what's their credit score. Most of them don't even know they have a
Man.
credit score,
Oh,
but they
wow.
got a credit card. How did you get it? Well, somebody just gave it to me. So why did you take it? You know, did you not ask any questions? Well, it's free money.
Now, if someone wants to contact you for a workshop, how can they contact you?
Well, they can visit the website. They can contact FEC Consortium, and they can get information to reach out to me as well. And I'm sure he's going to share it when we finish this show.
Matter of fact, so Doc can go ahead and have it streaming across the bottom of this show. What is the website?
It's mfsllc.com. And you can go there and you can click on financial literacy classes, or the little classroom pop up for you. You can schedule the class. Once you schedule the class, you get to talk to me and tell me what portion of financial literacy you would like as an adult.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, what about organizations that want to secure your services? Is that the same website? And
Yes, they would go to that website and they would select financial literacy classes. Then they would receive a phone call.
Okay.
So we can discuss what services
need
and what
and-
aspect. Do you want a workshop? Do you want a 4-part class? Do you want a one-on-one?
What's the most ideal? I'm sorry. What's the most ideal number of adults or kids to have in a financial literacy workshop session?
Okay, so we've worked with families where there's only 4 people. There's families of 2. There's classrooms of 10s. There's classrooms of 20. It just depends on what you're looking for. If it's an organization, I would say try to get 10 to 20 people in your group.
Okay.
If it's just a husband and wife, great. We can sit at the dinner table.
Gotcha. Okay.
If it's parents who want their children to have it, same thing, but the kids are at the table with you.
You know something interesting? I'm glad you said that. And Mr.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Doc.
And thank you so much for being on the show. I wanted to know, do you focus on advanced teaching finances for like entrepreneurs and business owners?
Yes, sir. We can do that as well. I actually have a nice typed up paperwork that talks about businesses and how they should be keeping records according to the IRS, how you should be established as a business. My daughter, who I recently was on the show, talked to you all about that, setting up LLCs and corporations, making sure they are correct. But I talked to you about record keeping and making sure you're on track for your finances and financial management to make sure that you are in compliance with the IRS. Because
What about
they can
business
audit
credit?
you.
What about building business credit? Because the thing I had to learn, and I didn't really become financially literate until I was in my 40s.
Oh, wow.
And because I grew up in the era where if you made it, you spent it. And so I was never taught that as a child, and I've always worked. I've been working since I was 15. But everything I got, I always spent. And I didn't understand the power of money. Now I know that money is a tool.
Yes.
And nothing more. And there's good debt, there's bad debt, and things. So I educated myself. And financially, I'm in a much, much better position now. But
So
it took trial and error and then getting tired of that same cycle.
Yes, sir. So your
robbing
question
Peter to
is
pay Paul.
businesses and credits?
Yeah. Well,
Okay. So for the most part, a business establishes credit based on you. And that's never going to separate. That's the thing that people misconception. You're a part of that business. You establish that business. So your behavior constitutes your behavior of your business.
So even if it's a S corp or C corp or LLC, that credit of that business is always attached to that individual?
Yes, sir. It doesn't separate. So most people think, oh, yeah, I got great business credit, and Doc can speak to this. When he first got started, because he was making money, spending money, it was a problem to get credit for that business. So I can use my husband and I as an example for our trucking company, that in order for us to establish credit, we had to leverage our own selves.
Got you. Yeah.
Because when you first get started, people don't trust your business. They're not sure that you're going to
'Cause
make
it's
the
new,
money
yeah.
and pay it back.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to what I just said. Your business credit is you.
You're right.
So your behavior, how you manage money, back to money management skill. It's a full circle. If you have no idea how to manage money, just like Doc said, look how old he was before he realized that in order for me to get credit and to get business credit, I got to clean up what I didn't know.
You know, Doc, man, that was an excellent question, and appreciate that, because that takes me to what I'm about to ask, and that is, I know when I started my businesses, I was the collateral for my business. And so the question that I have, and I mean, you've already answered it in essence, does the business and that individual who started a business, no matter how. I mean, so you mean to tell me, Tyler Perry, those corporations that he has now are always going to be attached to Tyler Perry personal.
He's the owner.
Man, that is deep. I mean, you think that at some point these companies evolve to being their own entities and independent, but
They do, but they never leave you.
boy,
Well, this sounds like you a little bit more than financial service.
yeah, it does. Hey, this is another
So
show.
what
I mean,
This is
Doc
another
Ed
show.
has a good question,
Doc,
but
you-
most people
yeah.
don't think about. They just think, okay, and Doc can attest to this. Once you start building the credit for your business, yes, you could go out and leverage your business. But again, any application you fill out for your business, they ask for your business information and what's under it.
You know what? I'm gonna
You.
give
Exactly.
me. I got to give Doc some credit. Because you know what Doc normally would do. Doc would normally wait till we get down to like 2-3 minutes. Hey, to throw something like this, because this is deep.
Woke him up.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, a lot of us don't grow up. We are taught consumer math in middle and high school. You got to do well. When I was in, you didn't have to take algebra. You took advanced consumer math as one of your classes, but I never learned to manage money beyond the basic of just maybe a ledger and a checkbook. I didn't understand that the tool aspect of money. And this is where a lot of us, just like she was saying, I remember I got an American Express card when I was 20, and I thought I could do what I want with it. And that's what I did. I ran it right up.
And then you gotta pay all
Hey,
that
Doc,
back.
Doc, you bring up something, and this is a perfect segue, Mr. Battle. You are, I mean, I've known you for some years now, and I mean, I know your specialty is in mathematics. You know that stuff. I mean,
1 + 1.
1 + 1. but as Doc is talking about, growing up, having the experience of being, I'm gonna just say a mathematician, but do the two intertwined to where you can have somebody who's good in math and totally, and I say this respectfully, ignorant to financial literacy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I've had accountants come in my office. Accountants in my office, and I take care of their things.
Man.
Because they will tell me flat out, I can do a spreadsheet, I can do a balance sheet, I cannot do this.
But it also is exposure. If you have not been around money,
Yeah.
Yes.
what else do you know? And then if you put money in your hand really fast,
That's a good point, because we
Yeah.
see it every day
it in
with
these
NBA
athletes.
players,
Yeah,
NFL players.
athletes.
and we were just talking about that. These kids right now are getting this money put in their hand, but no one is putting programs that say, I'm going to give you the money, but you got to go to this program first.
But
You know,
actually,
yeah.
I'm going to correct you.
Go
They
ahead.
actually do have a program. And the reason I know is because I researched it because I was getting pissed off. Because I said, you are taking our young boys, all boys, any color, and you giving them millions of dollars. And you are not showing them that the first thing they must do is save.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second thing they must do is invest. The third thing they must do is talk to an accountant. The fourth thing they need to do is talk to a lawyer. Before they touch the money, these things
four
need to
things.
happen.
Yes.
So I went searching. They do have it, but here's the problem. Again, back to my
Right there.
foundation. Nobody has talked to them until now. So now their parents are in their ear or somebody else is in there. Oh, no, put your money over here. Put your money over here. They don't know. So they're making the decision based on what's put in front of them. And then as soon as they get hurt, here comes failure. No money management skills, no money left over. They cannot survive.
Let me make sure I got those 4 things right, because I like them. I really like them.
Yeah.
And I ain't, correct me if I go out of order, but the first thing you should do is save.
Yes.
The second thing you should do is invest.
Yes.
The third thing you need to do is get yourself an accountant.
Yes.
And the fourth thing you need to do is get yourself a lawyer.
Yes.
So let me just tell you how this stuff run in order for me, because I know all too well how much an accountant costs, how much a lawyer costs. So you sure enough right. You got to save. You got to make some investments. And I guess you got to bite the bullet to go and have that sit down with that accountant. And then as you do all of that, that saving, that investing, because lawyers ain't cheap either.
No.
And so those are 4 critical things that you need and have to do. And before, because I know we got about 10, 15 minutes left. If you're interested, if your organization, whether it's a civic organization, whether it's a faith-based organization, whatever it is, I'm going to roll out this offer, one-time offer. And Ms. Wynn, when I say one time, don't I mean it?
One time.
And this is to the organization that engages us first. If you're interested in having at least a minimum of 12 people in attendance, the Florida Economic Consortium we have a great partnership with Ms. Anderson. We will have and we'll commission Ms. Anderson to come out and actually go through a process. They're going to need to call you first to let you know what they need. But if it's financial literacy 101, that's where we want to take you to first, to put this thing out there in the atmosphere, if you would. So the best way to call and get your organization on the map is contact us at 407-494-2406. Ask for Miss Wynn. She'll coordinate it. But once again, this is something that we're going to do one time, and this is going to be pro bono. Miss Anderson, who, if y'all don't know yet, she knows her stuff. And this is an invitation for her to come out one time, and FEC will be hosting this to do a financial literacy training. How long are the trainings?
Well, it can be an hour, or it can be up to 4 hours.
Well, let's do. Hey, FEC not gonna be paying for a whole lot. Hey, so I'm gonna say an hour and a half, because after you get through making introductions and you get down to the nitty gritty, then they're gonna have possibly a solid hour of your services. So once again, if you're interested, contact Miss Wynn at 407-494-2406. I'm from that school, and I'm not from Missouri, but they say Missouri is the show me state, right? I will bet you, once Miss Anderson gets done, you're going to want her back. So I'm willing to invest in it now. So I done put that plug out there. Hey, Mr. Battle, come on, man. You just, is that how you cheat doing golf? Because you're a mathematician, you be figuring out where you gonna put this ball at. Now I'm figuring it out, Miss Anderson.
Oh, so he using the math.
He using the math.
Oh, he mathing you.
He mathing me. Hey, what does your lady say? Henson, Taraji, when she say the math wasn't mathing.
Oh. So Mr. Battle's math ain't mathing.
He be mathing me. So I know now.
Well, we just count a lot of numbers for you.
Oh, that's see. In golf
terms, they know that.
In golf terms, if you counting a lot of numbers, that's basically strokes.
You lose.
That ain't a good thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he doesn't beat me like that. I'm gonna just tell you on air. He does. Hey, which camera we at, y'all? Y'all know he does not beat me like that. If I played every week, I'll be in the amateur league.
Sound like an excuse, right?
All right. I kind of digressed there for a second, but getting back on this financial literacy, man, it is just so important, so critical that we get this out into the community. And yes, again, I'm going to say, when just like the police, you can have a police force of 100. If you know that the concentrated areas where you have crime is in this geographical location, or if you have needs, I'm not just going to say crime, illiteracy and things of that nature, you concentrate your efforts where you see the need the most.
Yes.
And so again, I'm going to say that, man, we need to concentrate our effort where we see the need.
Yes.
Orange County has established, I think it's about 7 or 9 zip codes where they see high referrals of delinquency, high referrals of child welfare, literacy issues.
Yes.
Why go anywhere else when you know where your problem is at?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we're winding down, and Mr. Battle, I'm going to start with you first, man. If you had to, give some parting words about how important you feel financial literacy is, based on the fact that you've seen how these young people have taken it and used it and are moving on. What would you say to our audience?
I'll just keep it simple. Exposure. If you do not offer it, it cannot be received.
That's deep. You're right.
That's a good
That
one.
was a deep one. but it is so important because you can't get excited. You can't get excited about a party that you ain't been to.
You're right.
So,
You're right. Man, well, I have gotten excited about parties that I haven't been to because I hadn't been invited to some of them parties.
and, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah. You know, my father-in-law always says this. If you're not at the table, and I got to say, Reverend Richard King, you know, I got to give him his quotes. But he always says, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So it's time to pull up at the table, everybody. Miss Anderson, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to you because we're getting to that point to close out.
Yes.
You've been doing this for a while.
Oh, yes.
But what I want you to also do, people know now that you're a financial literacy genius. The other part of what people need to know is that you're an accountant as well. And if they need their books managed, if they need their taxes done, hey, this is a platform that we grant you so you can let people know how to reach you. But give your parting words about financial literacy as well.
Well, the first thing for me is I can't say it enough. If we do not train our children, we're going to continue down the same path. I want that path changed. I want to be a part of the new map. And in order to be a part of that, you have to contact me. We have to do this because our generation that's coming behind us, they're making more money than we could even dream about
You're
as
right.
children.
You're
But
right.
they have no clue what to do with it. That's our job. If I don't do it, if you don't do it, Mr. Love, if you don't do it, Mr. Battle, if you don't do it, Miss Wynn, to anyone in our purview, we wrong.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You're right.
Well, you know, with that being said, and again, I got to thank our executive producer, Doc Polite, because he didn't wait till the last 5 minutes to open that can of worms up earlier. And with that, Ms. Anderson, we have to get you back because tonight's show was a little bit difficult for me. We were talking about financial literacy, and then Doc introduced this entrepreneur spirit, this business spirit, and I was like, man, do I keep going on that route? Because that's a much longer conversation. And then I kind of got us back on track with financial literacy, but we got to have you back to talk about that business side.
Yes, and I'll be happy to return because it's important and there's a lot of new things coming down the pike for entrepreneurs. I know my daughter touched on it for that registration that has to happen by December 31st, 2024 because you're going to be out of compliance January 1st, 2025. So those are things that businesses need to know. Is your registration correct? Does this apply to you? Do I need to get this done? Do I need help? Where do I do this?
Sounds
at?
like we need to have a mother-daughter duo.
I was thinking that too, Mr. Love. I was thinking that.
Well, tell you what, I have to say, want to
That's a
thank
2 for 1.
Yeah, 2 for 1, a twofer. But you know, Mr. Battle, Miss Anderson, I got to tell the both of you, thank you for not seeing it to be robbery to be here this evening. Every Monday from 6 to 6:45, the sit down will be taking place. We'll be bringing to communities people who know their stuff. And tonight, man, we had 2 people that know their stuff. So with that being the case, I want to thank you both once again. Miss Wynn, yeah, you always bringing it. And boy, you be lining up these guests. I got to give it to you. I got to give it to you. And Doc Polite, man, thank you. And our engineer, Mondo. But please tune in next week, 6 p.m. We'll be here doing the same sit down, different discussion, different topic. But you're going to get true value. Once again, thank y'all for being on the sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.